Whose fault is what has happened in Flint, Michigan?
Well, the truth is that there's enough blame to go around. The blame has to start with Governor Rick Snyder, who declared Flint's financial emergency in 2011 and then subsequently appointed the series of 4 emergency managers who have effectively governed the city over the past 5 years. And so Governor Snyder, and he's owned his share of the blame in recent months. Also, those emergency managers he appointed who oversaw the switch to the Flint River. But also there are failures and missteps at all levels of government. The EPA was lax in overseeing its lead and water rules, and so too was the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality. And so there's enough blame to be spread across different levels of government, local, state, and federal. But the truth is that if we want to understand Flint's lead and water crisis, we also have to dig much deeper to a variety of other forces, many of them structural in nature, that have led and contributed to this water crisis. And what I mean by that is that if we want to understand why it was that Flint was in a state of emergency in 2011, we have to go back a couple generations to think about the changes in the city that occurred over that period. In particular, 2 key migrations, both of them government-sponsored. The first of those was the migration of industrial capital, in particular General Motors factories from the city to suburbs and rural areas. And over time, this out-migration of factories from the central city helped to contribute to a massive economic crisis in the city that helped to lay the groundwork for this emergency declaration. But it's also important to understand why this lead and water crisis has had such a disproportionate effect on people of color and the poor. And to understand that, we also have to dig back several generations to think about racially discriminatory housing and urban development policies in particular that have kept many African Americans locked inside the central city.